Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the graduation ceremony for the graduates of the Faculty of Arts, Commerce and Management, Engineering, Science, the Graduate School of Management, the Queensland College of Arts and the Queensland Conservatorium. In a few minutes, the graduation ceremony will commence. The procession of staff will enter first. After a brief pause, the university fanfares will announce the entry of the dais party. I will signal to you by this action that you are to rise and remain standing until both the staff procession and the dais party are seated. Please do not stand until I ask you to. May I also remind you that flash photography is prohibited in this auditorium. For the mutual comfort and enjoyment of all of the members of the audience, the university requests your cooperation in observing this rule.
Dame Jane Sutherland, Mr Richard Bonning, the Honourable Matt Foley, Professor Roy Webb, Vice-Chancellor of Griffith University, members of Griffith University Council, distinguished guests, graduands, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Council of the University, I'm pleased to welcome everyone present this evening. I thank you all for joining us on what is a very special occasion. Graduation ceremonies are part of the rich tradition of universities worldwide. It is an opportunity to publicly acknowledge the achievements of our students in the company of their families, their friends and their peers. It makes for a joyous event, and I offer our warmest congratulations to them all. This evening, we are pleased to welcome our three special guests. To honour the outstanding careers of Dame Jane Sutherland and Mr Richard Bonning, Griffith University will bestow on each of them its honorary degree, Doctor of the University. We are also pleased that the Honourable Matt Foley, Queensland Attorney-General, Minister for Justice and, importantly, Minister for the Arts, has been able to join us, and we shall look forward to hearing his occasional address later in tonight's proceedings. The community of Griffith University has a deepening association with Dame Jane Sutherland and also with Minister Matt Foley. As some of you will know, Dame Jane previously, and again this week, has participated in master classes at the Queensland Conservatorium. The Honourable Matt Foley has been a good friend to the University, particularly to the Queensland Conservatorium and the Queensland College of Art in his portfolio as Minister of the Arts, in this and of course in a previous government. There has also been a close association between the Justice Department and the Office of the Attorney-General with Griffith in Griffith's development in both law and justice administration. Many of you may not be aware that Griffith is now the 8th largest university in Australia in terms of funded student load. We are a multi-campus institution with 6 campuses in the Brisbane Gold Coast corridor and more than 21,500 students enrolled in what is an impressive array of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Included amongst that total number of students, of course, are some 2,500 students from overseas. Demand for university places in southeast Queensland has increased, notwithstanding declining demand in some other places of Australia. This increase follows earlier neglect of Queensland's needs in this regard. And over the past 4 years, Griffith and the other universities in Queensland have actively lobbied the federal and the state governments for additional places to meet the student demand, and as a consequence of that, over 3,000 new undergraduate places were awarded to Griffith for the period 1995 to 1999. 60% of these places have been allocated to the university's Gold Coast campus and the remainder to our new campus at Logan. Whilst we are pleased with this outcome, we shall continue to argue Queensland's case for universities' places. The demands of teaching and research in a multi-site institution with staff and students accommodated at separate campuses located along a 70-kilometre corridor require special treatment. New faculties, new schools transcending campus boundaries foster academic coherence and provide a full range of opportunity for all of our students. The multi-campus operations are supported by a microwave link connecting our establishments at Nathan, Mount Gravatt, Gold Coast and Logan. This permits high-speed transmission of image, of sound and of data between the campuses to support flexibility in the delivery and access of information for teaching, for research and of course for administrative purposes. The university's new campus at Logan admitted its first students in February of this year. It has been designed around learning centres. All subjects offered there have been developed in a flexible delivery mode, and students can access course material through a variety of options, including interactive multimedia via the internet. The university will extend the Logan campus techniques to students on our other campuses over the coming years. I should repeat the news, and some of you may have heard it before, that the university's multimedia distance learning network received a medal following its entry for a Computer World Smithsonian Award. The entry for the award was a case study on the communications network linking our 6 campuses, and it will remain part of the permanent reference collection at the prestigious Smithsonian Institute in Washington. Our students graduating this evening come from the schools within the Faculties of Arts, Commerce and Management, Engineering, Sciences, the Graduate School of Management, the Queensland College of Art and the Queensland Conservatorium. These schools and these faculties have recorded a significant number of successes in the past year, and I should mention some aspects of those. Across the Faculty of Arts, there have been very promising developments that will place Griffith University in a strong position at the time when the arts areas at other universities have been drastically cut back. The School of Film, Media and Cultural Studies and the School of Arts have introduced a new cross-campus major in journalism in response to heavy demand. This course will give students professional level experience in using the latest communication technologies. The School of Film, Media and Cultural Studies has also introduced a training course in media communications for staff of Fairfax Holdings in Sydney. In the School of Justice Administration, a Bachelor of Arts course in Justice Administration via Open Learning has commenced, and in the same school, planning is well advanced for a Master of Arts in Forensic Psychology to be introduced in the year 2000. The School of Humanities has established a partnership with the University of Innsbruck in Austria for the development of flexible learning and literary studies, and that school has continued its leading role in the development of Australian studies in a number of Asian countries, including Thailand, China, Taiwan, Korea and Japan. In February, the school hosted a visit by 9 professors from leading universities in Taiwan undertaking a professional development course in Australian studies. This year, arrangements have been made for 3 academic staff from the school to teach Asian studies at the Beijing Foreign Studies University. Graduates at a Gold Coast ceremony several weeks ago were the first to receive our Master of Hospitality Management degree delivered offshore in Singapore. Among those enrolled in the Master of Hospitality Management course are employees of major tourism and hotel companies. New courses began on the Logan campus this year within the Faculty of Commerce and Management, and these courses lead towards the Bachelor of Management, the Bachelor of Enterprise Management, the Bachelor of Business Communication degrees. Next year, you will see the commencement of a Bachelor of Commerce in Finance Planning and Investments. Our School of Microelectronic Engineering has recently signed a contract with the Sony Corporation in Tokyo, Japan, to carry out research projects in the area of speech recognition. Sony will provide funding backing to the university for a period of 2 years. The School of Engineering will next year offer a major in coastal engineering. It will cover such subjects as coastal systems, coastal and estuarine hydrodynamics, coastal engineering design, coastal zone management and coastal modelling. And there are other innovative approaches in the pipeline. The School of Engineering is currently planning to introduce a full 4-year coastal engineering degree course, which will be the first of its kind in Australia. To assist these ventures, the University has recently invested in a state-of-the-art research vessel for coastal engineering studies. The Faculty of Science has signed an agreement to offer a Bachelor of Aviation degree jointly with British Aerospace. That large multinational corporation has interests in aircraft manufacture as well as pilot training worldwide. At Tamworth in New South Wales, British Aerospace has a $100 million training facility, and students can learn to fly there while studying for a Bachelor of Aviation degree from Griffith University using mainly flexible modes. The Tamworth facility, interestingly, provides training for all Australian Defence Force pilots, for Malaysian Airlines, for Air China and for Vietnam Airlines. The School of Biomolecular and Biomedical Science has recently gained refurbished state-of-the-art research laboratories at a cost to the university in excess of $500,000. This is a part of an ongoing program consolidating the efforts of research groups with similar interests in ensuring that they have top-flight facilities. At the Gold Coast graduation ceremony earlier this month, the first graduates in the Master of Business Administration International course received their degrees. The course was established in 1997 to cater for growing demand from local and overseas graduates, academically well qualified, but without a significant work experience base. It provides an excellent opportunity for recent graduates to obtain a strong advantage in the career market. In an increasingly competitive marketplace, our MBA and related courses are maintaining their position, with intake numbers continuing to increase. Our market share is very gratifying, based as it is on Griffith University's reputation and the quality of our MBA course. The university has signed an agreement in principle with the South Bank Corporation to acquire South Bank House and adjacent land for the relocation of the Queensland College of Art. Detailed negotiations are currently underway to produce a final agreement, and it is expected that these negotiations will be successfully concluded by the end of November. Assuming the negotiations are successful, the College of Art will move to South Bank in the year 2000. This development, importantly, will bring together on the South Bank Griffith University's major visual and performing arts elements. Together, the Queensland Conservatorium and the Queensland College of Art will be part of what is fast becoming one of the world's major arts and cultural complexes. The honorary degrees to be offered this evening on Dame Joan Sutherland and Richard Bonning turn the spotlight onto the Queensland Conservatorium, and we can refer to some of their achievements. The Conservatorium Symphony Orchestra has during the year performed with Nicholas Braithwaite, John Curo MBE and AM, Isaiah Jackson, Robert Castells and Sir Neville Mariner with the renowned Academy of St Martin in the Fields. There have been a number of fine operatic presentations. There was a very successful showing of Britain's opera A Midsummer Night's Dream, sponsored by the Commonwealth Bank, and in collaboration with QPAT, The Labours of Hercules by Duhamel was presented as part of the Out of the Box Festival. I should mention Professor Jeanette Del-Pratt's contribution to the Queensland Conservatorium and to the teaching of singing in both Queensland and Australia. Professor Del-Pratt is the first woman Professor of Music and Voice and the first woman to be appointed to a personal chair in music in Australia. Let me return to the focus of our gathering this evening. We have gathered to give rightful recognition to you, our students, who have completed your course of study and who will shortly receive your awards. All of you have demonstrated a command of the knowledge and skills necessary for your chosen field of endeavour, as well as a willingness to persist with the level of discipline needed for high achievement in any field. Together, these qualities provide an excellent foundation for establishing a successful career. You are entering a very competitive world, and a world with a growing global focus. In particular, in Australia, we need to make our way in what will be an increasingly competitive Asia-Pacific region. I encourage all of you to use your tertiary education as a sound base, a base on which to build your career, recognising that in many ways you are now embarking on what will be a lifelong learning experience. As we continue with this evening's proceedings, I again express my own and the University Council's warm congratulations to each of our graduates and wish them every success in their future. Thank you. I now call on Professor Dennis Lincoln, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, to introduce the Deans who will present the graduates from their respective faculties who are to receive their awards at this ceremony this evening.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor David Saunders, Dean of the Faculty of Arts.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts. Caroline Adams. Nerida Booth. Dion Berger. Sharon Fisher. Simon Fox. Fiona Goscombe. Catherine Jenner. Yoshino Kubo. Meryl McCarthy. Joanne McKell. Maura Milichak. Lee Oliver. Richard Robinson. Gemma Schultz. Michael Wicks. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Australian and Comparative Studies. Lawrence Atkinson. Anne Bynum. Joe Campbell. Leanne Davis. Judith Gallagher. Jill Gill. Delore Smith. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Communication. Jean Dow. Loretta Freeman. Sasha Gordon. Yvette Guerra. Stanley Leong. Priscilla Lotz. Melanie Marcello. Debbie Schultz. Lee Smallwood. Susan Smith. Virginia Vandermeer. Catherine Wilson. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Justice Administration. Patrick Berrigan. Marshall Bostock. Kylie Cahill. Yolanda Dillon. Glenn Fleming. Nicole Kendrick. Trevor Little. David Mackenzie. Lisa Meredith. Sandra Morris. Paul Mullen. David Tonks. Margot Watson. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Languages and Applied Linguistics, Linda Austin. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Screen Production. Megan McCormack. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Arts with second-class honours, Division A in Humanities. Jamie Walsh. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Certificate in Publishing and Editing. Julie Ann Hart. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Chinese Language and the Bachelor of Arts in Modern Asian Studies. Michelle Weir. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Chinese Language and the Bachelor of Education. Fung Sai. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Arts. Roderick McFarlane. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Arts in Australian Studies. Michael Campbell. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Arts in Criminal Justice, Stephen Burnett. Deputy Chancellor, I present 3 graduates who have been granted the Master of Arts in Cultural Policy Studies. Philippa Hanrick. Paul Jenkins. Elizabeth Quinn. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Arts in Film and Television Studies. Savithri Anantharaman. Peter Bagley. Deputy Chancellor, I present 2 graduates who have been granted the Master of Arts in Media Production. Promit Chakraborty. Khalid Wakil. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Arts.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Drew Nesdale, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Bachelor of Arts in Leisure Management. Nathan Bell. Craig Delizio. Rosemary Drynan. Jay Gurman. Simone Harvey. Greg Hogarth. Christopher Howes. Damien Kent. Matthew Patton. Brett Smith. Christopher Smith. Patricia Stack. Angus Tapp. Michael Willimott. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of International Business, Renko Santic. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Commerce, Uzoma Adegibi. Christy Anderson. Grant Arnold. Peter Baines. Anna Barassi. Adam Bauer. Jean Bertha. Damien Bowden. Bruce Breitenbach. Julie Brisotto. Ken Brown. Katrina Burgess. Brian Cameron.
Noel Carmody. Lili Chai. Fiona Chan. Helen Chan. Leung Chandra. Melissa Chang. Lileshni Charya. Sylvia Chung. Stephen Chu. Ivy Chin. Ivy Chow. Rita Chow. Huey Chu. Joanna Chung. Shirley Chung. Lynette Cragen. Erin Davey. Kirsty Dennison. Edwin Diaz. Vanessa Druitt. Sue Kim Oo. Antonella Ferraro. Simon Francis. Simon Gartland. Judy Greer. Jake Gulliver. Jin Han. Maria Hansen. Janelle Harm. Janet Hegarty. Chio Kin Hee. Roy Ho. Sarah Holland. Crystal Hoy. Brandon James. Dean Jansen. David Johns. Andrea Joseph. Jacqueline Key. Jinok Kim. Sugihato Kusumadi. Waiha Kwok. Sarah Lai. Kerry Langford. Lee Kun Lee. Francesca Lehman. Ka Kit Leung. Jeff Liao. Clint Lidster. Pai Phi Liu. Sui Lin Liu. Rodney Lim. Elaine Lim. Justin Lin. Jessica Lowe. Fiona Lowe. Alana Lowry. Darren Madron. Tanya Mansfield. George Marcassini. Karen Marsden. Carol Marshall. Jeremy McKinnon. Lewis Melgar. Tony Meredith. Tristan Mirapuri. Alex Moog. Joanne Murphy. Jodie Murray. Pauline Neal. Nigel Nunes. Belinda Newton. Patrick Ng. Wendy Ng. Elizabeth O'Brien. Ben Parlett. Jane Panisi. Anna Porter. Wade Preston. Aldwin Quizon. Narelle Rendalls. Mark Richardson. Eric Rodale. Louise Roger. Vivian Roma. Chikara Shimizu. Brijesh Singh. Elizabeth Sisson. David Sue. Santhanayaki Subramaniam. Renee Tan. Sukwai Tang. Dylan Tasker. Joshua Taylor. Ian Thompson. Deanne Tonkin. Salvador Trujillo. Chunghwa Sai. Danny Sai. Thomas Verniak. Ryan Wagoner. Craig Walker. YY Wang. Jody Warwick. Mark Wewell. Richard Williams. Sally Williams. Karen Willems. Ivan Jung. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who've been granted the Bachelor of Commerce with First Class Honours. Peter Clark. Catherine Titheridge. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Bachelor of Commerce with Second Class Honours, Division A. Catherine Scully. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who've been granted the Bachelor of Commerce in Retailing Management. Riaz Janif. Sally Truscott. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted this graduate certificate in Information Systems. Hissam Mohammed. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Business Computing and Information Systems. Jitakorn Chamcharawan. Catherine Ellerain. Francis Mew. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who've been granted the Graduate Diploma of Human Resource Management and Industrial Relations. Murray Saint. Bill Syme. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who've been granted the Graduate Diploma of Outdoor Education. Annette Catchell. Carol Lobley. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Master of Arts in Leisure Management. Stuart Garathi. Lynn Wenban. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Arts in Outdoor Education with honours. Elizabeth Ashman. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Commerce in Accounting and Finance. Gordon Kwok. Paul Simschauser. Robert Vidovich. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Master of Information Systems. Dinesh Acharya. Vinod Akinapalli. Vanessa Huang. Superporn Jangcharawan. Rathna Koka. Prakash Sastry. Yipling Sun. Gurpreet Verma. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Master of Marketing Management. Victoria Hodgson. Dennis Hulse. Thomas Kobenar. Matana Sukian. Sharon Tan. Bradley Wallace. Tun Wongpornpunt. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who've been granted the Master of Professional Accounting. Loretta Apps. Amy Sue. Xiao Y. Hu. Peter Marini. Gail Robson. Jing Wang. Zong Yang. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Barry Harrison, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering.
Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Engineering in Microelectronic Engineering, David Young. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Technology in Microelectronics, Nathan Smith. David Sun. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of the graduates of Faculty of Engineering.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor William McGillivray, Dean of the Faculty of Science.
Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Biomedical Science. Joanne Boynton. Michael Del Manso. Dario Goriop. Andrew Lee. Alan Self. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science. Carly Ashby. Stuart Kaling. V.G. Chelia. Julius Dreyer. Tanya Hull. Stuart Parker. Kerry Preen. Bridie Thompson. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Statistics. Mohammed Shahabzu. Alan Neat. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science with Aviation. Joe Biffin. David Holland. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology, Sue Brady. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Science with Media, Fiona Yao. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Shannon Dupin. Angie Hartley. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Clinical Biochemistry, Simon Flanagan. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Graduate Diploma of Clinical Physiology, Degwang Ferreira. Wirani Winyurat. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science with Honours in Biotechnology, Narendra Nand. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science with Honours in Clinical Biochemistry, Robert Serick. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Science with Honours in Forensic Science, Lenore Hadley. Deputy Chancellor, I present three graduates who have been granted the Master of Technology Management, Nelson Chinli Wee. Lydia Cicilo. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of the graduates of the Faculty of Science.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor David Lim, Dean of the Faculty of International Business and Politics and Acting Director of the Graduate School of Management.
Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Graduate Diploma of Management, Stefan Alexia. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Master of Business Administration, Rod Bartlett. Hishe Ego. Kim Bang Yu. Ruth McGrath. Vincent Chai. Deputy Chancellor, I present 3 graduates who have been granted the Master of Business Administration with distinction. Ian Blythe. Susan Hyatt Diorio. Catherine Valentine. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Graduate School of Management.
Deputy Chancellor, Mr. Paul Jolly, Acting Provost and Director of the Queensland College of Art.
Deputy Chancellor, I present one graduate who has been granted the Associate Diploma of Arts in Applied Photography, Mark Love. Deputy Chancellor, I present 2 graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Visual Arts in Fine Art, Perry Bork. Claire Mullen. Deputy Chancellor, I present one graduate who has been granted the Bachelor of Visual Arts in Gold and Silversmithing, Emma Dawkins. Deputy Chancellor, I present graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Visual Arts in Bachelor of Visual Arts in Interior Design, Misono Fukuyama. Deputy Chancellor, I present 2 graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Visual Arts in Photography, Michael Cranfield. Anna Simonuti. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Queensland College of Art.
Deputy Chancellor, Professor Simon de Haan, Provost and Director of the Queensland Conservatorium.
Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Diploma of Music, John Taverner. Deputy Chancellor, I present two graduates who have been granted the Bachelor of Music, Seohee Choi. Brett Douglas. Deputy Chancellor, I present a graduate who has been granted the Master of Music, Timothy McEwen. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates of the Queensland Conservatorium. Deputy Chancellor Professor Dennis Lincoln, Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, will now present a candidate for the award of the University Medal. This will be followed by the presentation of candidates for the awards of Master of Philosophy and Doctor of Philosophy.
Deputy Chancellor, the University Medal may be awarded to a graduate who has completed the requirements for both a bachelor's degree of the university and a degree with first-class honours in recognition of academic excellence. Deputy Chancellor, I am pleased to present a graduate of the Faculty of Commerce and Management who has been granted the 1998 University Medal, Catherine Gay Titheridge. Deputy Chancellor, tonight the University is proud to honour 4 graduates who have satisfied the rigorous criteria for the award of the degree of Master of Philosophy. Deputy Chancellor, Ms. Marina Beloff has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. The title of Ms. Beloff's thesis is Fatty Acid Composition of Plasma Membrane Phospholipids from cultured lymphoblastoid and skin fibroblast cell lines established from patients diagnosed with schizophrenia. Deputy Chancellor, I present Ms. Marina Beloff. Deputy Chancellor, Ms. Stella Buckley has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. The title of Ms. Buckley's thesis is Expression of Heat Shock Protein 70 in Fibroblasts from Schizophrenic Patients following a response to heat shock. Deputy Chancellor, I present Ms. Stella Tracy Buckley. Deputy Chancellor, Mr. James Leslie Springfield has been granted the degree of Master of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. The title of Mr. Springfield's thesis is Spectroscopy and Structure of the R1 and R2 van der Waals complexes of ortho and metodifluorobenzene. Deputy Chancellor, I present Mr. James Leslie Springfield. Deputy Chancellor, before proceeding with the presentation of graduates who have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, I shall, with your permission, read a citation introducing each of those graduates. Tonight, the university is proud to honour its Doctor of Philosophy graduates who have satisfied these rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Deputy Chancellor, the following graduates have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Arts. Dr. Carmel Black. The Queensland Unemployed Workers Insurance Act of 1922 introduced Australia's only system of unemployment insurance. The scheme operated from 1923 to 1944. An analysis solely of political demands and economic circumstances does not sufficiently explain this uniqueness. The presence of individuals within government with the will to push programs through is necessary to understand the implementation of this legislation. Dr. Black's detailed contextualization offers a significant advance on prior accounts of this episode. Dr. Black. Dr. Jane Magon. Dr. Magon's thesis examines mysticism in the work of 4 Australian artists, Dale Frank, Mike Parr, Jill Orr, and Annika Silva. Her thesis challenges the view that roles, symbols, rituals, patterns, and concepts of mysticism are not evident in Australian art. Dr. Magon's study shows that several forms of mysticism, including shamanism, goddess spirituality or mystical feminism, Chileanism, and Gnosticism, have shaped the work of these artists. Dr. Magon's groundbreaking and unique study demonstrates a mystical theme in postmodern Australian art. Dr. Magon. Dr. David Moore. Dr. Moore states in his thesis that social responses to harmful behaviour include punishments and retribution which can aggravate the hurt caused by offending without satisfying the needs of the victims. Dr. Moore has examined the development of a new response called conferencing, which brings together all those affected by a harmful act to determine how they might best repair the damage and minimize further harm. In seeking to explain the success of this approach, he draws on the theoretical frameworks of criminology, sociology, and psychology to suggest that traditional modes of punishment, as well as social theory, have neglected the key role of the emotions in effecting justice and reparation. Dr. Moore. Chancellor, the following graduates have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Commerce and Management. Dr. Josephine Burden. Dr. Burden chose community theatre as the setting for her study of leisure in the lives of older people. Dr. Burden found that community theatre assisted older people in developing their networks of social support, contributed to an enhanced sense of agency in participants, and challenged the invisibility which has been identified as one aspect of older age. She demonstrated that the development and support of community infrastructure is significant for the continued engagement of all citizens in a full and active life. Dr. Burton. Dr. Christine Murphy. Dr. Murphy's thesis presented an empirically examined and integrated model of job design. The model brought together job characteristics and social information processing approaches to job design. The hypotheses underlying the integrating model were examined in a series of cross-sectional and longitudinal studies. The results of her work gave strong support to extending the focus of job design beyond job content to encompass a more social cognitive view, which gives emphasis to an understanding of job content within the social structure of the workplace. Dr. Murphy. Deputy Chancellor, the following graduates have been granted the degree of Doctor of Philosophy taken in the Faculty of Science. Dr. Catherine Andrews. Thermophilic microbes have potential applications in biotechnology and as a reagent in molecular biology. The Great Artesian Basin of Australia is an ancient aquifer from which such microbes can be readily cultured. A novel thermophilic anaerobic bacterium was isolated, a genomic expression library prepared, and several genes and their products studied. A thermostable restriction endonuclease was also partially purified and characterized. Dr. Andrews. Dr. Warren Baker. Dr. Baker has developed very sensitive chemical assays for several penicillins and their enzyme-produced derivatives and metabolites. One of these enzymes is penicillin acyclase, which can be used for the preparation of semi-synthetic penicillins. The detection and precise estimation of penicillin acyclase had previously been a long-standing problem in bacterial physiology. Dr. Baker's detailed investigations of the chemistry of these substances has contributed significantly to the elucidation of penicillin metabolism in bacterial systems with potential therapeutic applications. Dr. Baker. Dr. Andrew Bradley. Dr. Bradley's research has succeeded in solving a long-standing puzzle concerning the intricate internal motion of complex molecules. Using a combination of lasers, mass spectroscopy, and supersonic molecular beam technology, together with quantum mechanical investigation, Dr. Bradley has succeeded in providing a unified dynamical description of low-frequency torsional motion, a topic of considerable relevance in the fundamental understanding of conformational behavior in chemical and biological systems. Dr. Bradley. Dr. Ming Chao. Dr. Chao's thesis examines bacterial L-asparaginase enzymes, two of which have been used for more than a decade in the chemotherapeutic treatment of human leukemias, despite often resulting in side effects. To aid the research for alternative enzymes with anti-tumor properties, but without side effects, Dr. Chao has cloned and characterized the gene for Serrata marginans L-asparaginase. Dr. Chao has also purified E. coli L-asparaginase 1 in stable form, an achievement which has enabled the first structure-function analysis of this enzyme. Dr. Chao. Dr. Joanne Redburn. Dr. Redburn investigated changes in gene expression in the brain caused by the stimulation of sensory nerves. Major changes were seen when the nerves that sense pain were briefly stimulated, and it is proposed that these genetic changes cause the long-term alterations in nerve functioning that give rise to chronic pain states. Dr. Redburn also found that multiple stimuli interact in very different ways in different areas of the brain to cause changes in gene expression, thereby establishing a new principle in molecular genetics, and that several novel drugs may now be identified that could strongly suppress this process, suggesting that they will be useful for the treatment of chronic pain. Dr. Redburn. Dr. Benjamin Varco. Dr. Varco investigated the phenomena of a beam of atoms being deflected by light from a laser. The investigation focused on the sensitivity of the amount of deflection on the state of the atoms and whether this technique could be used to determine unknown states. Dr. Varco employed a full quantum theory description of the interaction between the laser light and the atoms and confirmed its predictions with very accurate measurements. Dr. Varco. Dr. Hock Sin Woo. Dr. Wu has developed a wide variety of DNA-based techniques for detecting and identifying human and livestock disease-causing members of the family of Leptospiraceae. A new fluorescent-based real-time polymerase chain reaction assay was developed which was simple, sensitive, and rapid. The additional advantage was that it could be completed in less than 1 hour instead of the several days or weeks required by previously used tests. This test has now been adopted for routine use by the World Health Organization Regional Reference Laboratory on Leptospirosis at the Queensland Health Laboratory. Dr. Wu. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the introduction of the Doctor of Philosophy graduates. I now ask that they be presented with their awards. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Carmel Mary Black. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Jane Christine Megan. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. David Brian Moore. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Josephine Elizabeth Burden. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Christine Janine Murphy. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Catherine Tia Andrews. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Warren Leslie Baker. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Andrew John Bradley. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Ming Chow. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Joanne Louise Redburn. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Benjamin Thomas Hornsby Varco. Deputy Chancellor, I present Dr. Hock Sing Woo. Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
Deputy Chancellor, the Vice-Chancellor will shortly present Dame Joan Sutherland and Mr. Richard Bonning for the degree of Doctor of the University. However, before the presentations, we will view a short extract of a documentary about the career of Dame Joan and Mr. Bonning.
Sutherland and Bonning had met up as soon as she arrived in London, and in 1954 they married. Already he was the most important influence on her career. While Norman Ayrton was loosening up her body, Richard was concentrating on the voice itself.
It didn't take me long to realise that when Joan sang at home, it was a different sound to when she sang in public. And to me, the sound in public was manufactured. And what she did without thinking about it was a much more natural, much more beautiful sound and a different way of singing. And I soon figured out that the way she was singing naturally was the way she had listened to her mother singing when she was a child.
You're exactly right.
And her mother had a wonderful voice, an incredible, beautiful sound, and a very firm technique. And Joan had listened to this all her young life. And but the later teachers, when she started to study, were teaching her to do other things. In fact, they were putting a lid on the top of her voice and trying to make her sing like an old-fashioned dramatic soprano. In other words, everything getting louder and louder until you got to top C and then finish. And it was quite obvious that the voice of Joan went beyond that. And when she was singing and didn't know what notes she was singing, it would go up quite easily. But if you told her to sing a D, she would faint with fear. You know, she said, I can't, it doesn't exist. And so it was a matter of using a little psychology and sometimes tricking her by playing the exercises in the wrong keys and convincing her that she had this extension and then making her use it, we worked at scales and vocalese a great deal to make the voice very, very flexible. But I must add also that it was fairly flexible by nature.
But Joan's mother had arrived in London too, with the idea of helping and encouraging her daughter's career.
Joan's mother was a formidable lady, with a very strong will, and she knew what she wanted, Joan to be, and she had very set ideas about how she thought Joan ought to sing. And Richard came into, to the family with very different ideas. So Joan was kind of caught in the middle of two very strong-willed people, both of who thought, they knew what was best for her. And she quietly kind of sat down again, let battle rage over her head. And I, was very aware of the tension in the house. Because Richard would say things, from his absolute certainty. And the mater, she was called, would absolutely say, that's absolutely wrong. That's not right at all. It's not what I want to do.
Bonning's strong ideas were not only about how his wife should sing, but also about what. He clashed several times with the opera chiefs.
I was always impressed at Covent Garden because I complained constantly about what she was given to sing. They wanted her to understudy the Marschallin, they wanted her to understudy Sieglinde, and they wanted her to understudy Chrysothemis, and I was dead against those things and created so much that she, in actual fact, didn't. I think she worked on the Marschallin, but the other two not at all. I wanted her to sing the Coloratura repertoire, the bel canto, the great 19th century repertoire. In the end, they gave her the doll to sing in Hoffmann, and I still think it was done a little maliciously. I think they thought, well, we'll put this great lump of a girl on as the doll in Hoffmann, and that'll fix that, and we won't hear any more of this nonsense.
I'm not sure that that's the reason, but
I have a malicious turn of mind. And she had an enormous triumph. The house fell apart, and there was a great ovation in mid-scene for, 5 or 6 minutes. It was something quite incredible, unforgettable. After that, nobody gave us any trouble at all. In fact, they were very cooperative. And David Webster promised her long ahead of time that she would have Lucia de Lammermoor.
To conduct Lucia, David Webster, who was the Covent Garden boss, had invited the veteran Italian conductor Tullio Serafin. That maestro telephoned the young Franco Zeffirelli to invite him to direct a soprano of whom he'd never heard.
John Savage is an Australian genius, revelation, fine. But he said, you've got to be wise there. Don't be discouraged at the beginning because the guy is extremely shy. Then Serafin, who read in my mind, said, come on, let's sing. So they went there and began to sing the first aria in Act 1. And I was totally conquered after, 30 seconds. Completely conquered. I said, wow. I roll up my sleeves and I said, John, I must call you John, we must become like brother and sister, we must live together, sleep together, travel together, eat together, to be part of the same planet, or our own planet. And I began to hug her, and put my hand and arm around her shoulder, and she shrugged, she didn't feel right, she was very embarrassed, and I said, listen, John, I'm a foreigner, I'm Italian, I'm very tactile, I need to touch people as I feel the vibration, pass my energy. So you have to accept it. I'm going to touch you all the time. I'll try to be discreet about it, but I want to hug you. When I like you, I mean, people, I want to feel physically that I'm together. So slowly, gradually she melted and she brought out this extraordinary personality.
Joan's mother was very cross with me when I decided that her voice could go up another 4 or 5 notes. We managed to persuade her, and we sat together on the first night of Lucia in Covent Garden. And she realised that we hadn't been wrong after all. I think she was very happy about it.
The vision, the actual image that I see is the white nightgown and the blood on it. Now, it's very difficult indeed for any human being to stand in the middle of that stage with a blood-stained dagger and blood all over a nightie and not have people giggle, because it is ridiculous. And I'm very sorry that Donizetti is complaining at this moment to the Lord, but it is ridiculous. But nobody, even for a moment, thought that that was ridiculous or smiled. I was, and they were, everybody, riveted. And why? Her personality, through the music, had simply nailed us into our seats. I mean, you could hear people not breathing because it was so amazing. As she came out and sang with the blood and the rest of it, it was very, very dramatic. It was a huge quantum leap into stardom, total stardom. And the cheering at the end, I remember, was colossal and quite right. It was not just because she'd sung a wonderful role wonderfully. I think people felt, not perhaps consciously, but felt a new star is born.
Shortly before you sang Lucia, Maria Callas called on you. Lucia is also one of her famous roles. Did she give you any last-minute advice?
Well, she wasn't giving anything away for free, but she was certainly very charming, and I was very pleased that she was there, and felt that I could go ahead to the first night with a great deal more confidence.
Last night, only a privileged few heard your voice. Might I persuade you to let us hear it now?
Tonight.
With the authority of the Council of the University, I shall now confer degrees of Doctor of the University. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roy Webb, to present to us Dame Joan Sutherland and Mr. Richard Bonning.
Deputy Chancellor, the Council of the University has resolved to award the degree of Doctor of the University to Dame Joan Sutherland, OMAC, DBE, and Mr. Richard Bonning, AO, CBE.
Dame Joan Sutherland and Mr. Richard Bonning were both born in Sydney and gained their early music training in that city. Dame Joan initially worked as a secretary, taking private singing lessons. Richard Bonning studied piano at the Sydney Conservatorium as a full-time student. He won a scholarship to the Royal College of Music in London and left Australia in 1950 to take up the scholarship. Dame Joan followed in 1951, having won the Sun Aria and the Mobile Quest. Her long-held ambition was to sing at Covent Garden. Dame Joan and Richard Bonning were both members of a group of young musicians who sometimes performed at concerts in Sydney and the country districts of New South Wales. In London, they teamed up to work with one another as often as possible. Richard Bonning was passionately interested in the operatic works of the early 19th century and infused Dame Joan with the same enthusiasm. Gradually, he convinced her that she had a much wider range, both of voice and music, at her command than she had believed. Her mother, a mezzo-soprano who had accompanied Dame Joan to London, was more sceptical. She was heard to say, "He's ruining my daughter's voice." On February 17, 1959, a now famous evening took place at Covent Garden Opera House in London, the first performance of Lucia de Lammermoor since 1925. Andrew Porter wrote in the Financial Times, and I quote, "With her performance of the title role, the young Australian soprano Joan Sutherland becomes one of the world's leading prima donnas." A week later, commenting on a subsequent broadcast performance, he wrote, "No soprano of our century has recorded the great scenes from Lucia with so rare and precious a combination of marvellously accomplished singing and dramatic interpretation of the music. On the first night, Miss Sutherland was spellbinding, yet in last night's performance she was even finer." Within 10 years, the operatic world had run out of superlatives to describe Dame Joan's performances. Italian fans had named her La Stupenda. Dame Joan and Richard Bonning married in London on 16 October 1954. To quote Dame Joan, "There was no time for honeymoon, as there was so much work for me to learn. Richard was forever wanting more legato, more expression, rounder tone, clearer diction, greater intensity." Their son Adam was born on 13 February 1956. Richard Bonning made his debut as a conductor in Rome on 25 January 1962 with the Rome Radio Orchestra and with Dame Joan as soloist. His opera debut was in 1963 with Gounod's Faust in Vancouver, where he later became artistic and musical director of the opera from 1974 to 1978. After performance of Sonambula in Los Angeles in 1963, Rachel Morton in The Independent credited Dame Joan as having the greatest voice in block caps in the world today. Albert Goldberg in the Los Angeles Times wrote of Richard Bonning's conducting, quote, "For the style that pervaded the production, one is willing to credit Richard Bonning, for it was obviously his understanding that shaped the stylistic excellence of all singers, Miss Sutherland included." After Lucia de Lammermoor had launched Dame Joan onto the international circuit, there followed no less than 30 years of performance, most of which was in tandem with Richard, either as conductor or accompanist in recital. To quote Dame Joan again, "The recital platform never appealed to me as much as the opera stage. I think I preferred to hide myself in another character and let her sing instead of me." Together, the names of Dame Joan Sutherland and Richard Bonning became inextricably linked with operas such as Bellini's Norma, Donizetti's La Fille du Régiment, Handel's Samson, Meyerbeer's La Huguenot, Mozart's Don Giovanni, Offenbach's Tales of Hoffmann, Rossini's Semiramis, Verdi's La Traviata, and many others. Dame Joan and Richard Bonning were jointly responsible for reintroducing many operas which, although once celebrated, had long since disappeared from the repertoire. In 1965, Richard Bonning, as artistic director and chief conductor of the Sutherland Williamson International Grand Opera Company, assembled a cast of young English, Australian and American singers, and just one Italian, the then little-known Luciano Pavarotti. They toured Australia for 4 months and gave 120 performances of 7 different operas in Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. Richard Bonning conducted 4 operas a week. Dame Joan sang 42 performances, including 11 Lucia de Lammermoors. For Australian audiences, this tour was an unforgettable experience. In 1975, Richard Bonning became musical director of the Australian Opera, a position he held for the next 10 years, afterwards becoming a regular guest conductor. Only last night he conducted Rossini's Cinderella in the Sydney Opera House. He continues his busy career conducting and recording. It has included ballet and operetta, as well as opera. His extensive catalogue of ballet recordings ranges from the standard repertoire of Tchaikovsky, Delibes and Adam to the more obscure. Dame Joan retired in 1990 and chose as her final opera performance the role of Marguerite de Valois in Meyerbeer's Les Huguenots at the Sydney Opera House, where she had performed so often in the last half of her long career, a stupendous farewell for La Stupenda. Dame Joan is now in demand as an adjudicator at international singing competitions. This last week, she has been at the Queensland Conservatorium, sharing her knowledge and vast experience with aspiring voice students. Griffith University sincerely thanks Dame Joan for this generous contribution to the work of the Conservatorium. Tonight at this graduation, we are fortunate to have present these 2 outstanding artists whose partnership has produced the greatest operatic performances of our time. It is especially fitting that the Council of Griffith University should honour Dame Joan Sutherland and Richard Bonning in recognition of their outstanding contributions to opera. Deputy Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Dame Joan Sutherland, OMAC DBE, for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University. Deputy Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Mr. Richard Bonning, AOCBE, for admission to the degree of Doctor of the University.
Anne McKendry Wright, and Third Lady Suzanne Shaw. To set the scene, the 3 ladies have sealed Papageno's mouth with a padlock for telling lies, and Tamino is powerless to release him. The ladies enter and set him free with a warning to watch his tongue, and set the pair a task, which is to seek out Sarastro's temple and rescue the kidnapped Pamina. To assist them in their quest, they present them with a magic flute and bells and point out 3 spirits who will guide them on their journey.
Der Arme kann von Straße sagen, denn seine Sprache ist dahin. Ich kann nichts tun, als dich beklagen, weil ich zu schwach zu helfen bin. Ich kann nichts tun, als dich beklagen, weil ich zu schwach zu helfen bin. Weil ich zu schwach zu helfen bin, weil ich zu schwach zu helfen bin.
Die Königin begnadet dich, hier ist es Fried.
Nun plaudert Papagena wieder.
Möge nur mit meiner.
Ich nehme nimmer mehr, nein, nein.
Dies was soll deine Warnung sein?
Dies was soll meiner Farbe sein? Von meiner Farbe sein. Wir kennen doch der Jünger alle, ein solcher Schoss vor ihrem Mund, statt Harzfeld und statt der Galle. Roter Mund, statt Harzfeld und statt der Galle. Roter Mund. Zahlt an allen Ratten bis zur Ratten, rufen, braten, setzt den Handen für. Da dort der Prinz mein Teufel wäre, mein Leben ist mir lieb, es weicht von meinen Ehren, von will wie ein Dieb.
Nimmt die kleine List ist ein.
Ein, was fallen ihnen sein?
Da den höchsten König tönen.
Die des Tages hören können.
Ja, gewiss, ja, gewiss.
Söpfelchen, Sapfelchen, sing zu unseren Söhnen. Lebet wohl, wir wollen gehen. Lebet wohl auf Wiedersehen. Lebet wohl auf Wiedersehen.
Ob schöne Dame, saget an,
wie man die Burg wohl finden kann. Wie man die Burg wohl finden kann. Wie man die Burg wohl finden kann.
I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Roy Webb, to introduce to you the guest speaker this evening, the Honourable Matt Foley, MLA.
Councillor. Our guest speaker this evening, the Honourable Matt Foley, MLA, is the Queensland Attorney-General and Minister for Justice and Minister for Arts. Mr Foley has been the member for Yeronga in the Queensland Parliament since 1989. Prior to entering politics, Mr Foley was a barrister, having practised for a number of years before that as a social worker. Mr Foley has held the positions of President of the Queensland Council for Civil Liberties and President of the Labour Lawyers Association of Australia. He holds the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Social Work and Bachelor of Laws with honours from Queensland University. During the term of the Goss Labor government, Mr Foley served as Minister for Employment, Training and Industrial Relations, and then as Attorney-General, Minister for Justice, Minister for Industrial Relations and Minister for the Arts. Apart from his ministerial duties, Mr Foley maintains a keen interest in Australian poetry, particularly the work of women poets. We are pleased and honoured that as Minister for the Arts, Mr Foley is able to be with us this evening to celebrate the achievements of two of Australia's greatest artists. Before I invite the Minister to address us, I would also like to acknowledge the generous sponsorship of Ridges South Bank for this occasion. The hotel has provided accommodation for our distinguished visitors, Dame Joan and Mr Richard Bonning, throughout this week. Deputy Chancellor, it now gives me great pleasure to call on Mr Matt Foley to deliver this evening's occasional address.
Deputy Chancellor, Mr Norman Fussell, Dame Joan Sutherland, Mr Richard Bonning, Vice-Chancellor Professor Roy Webb, graduates, guests. The idea of a university is to pursue the truth. But what is truth? We have the poet John Keats, who tells us that beauty is truth. Truth, beauty, that is all we know on earth and all we need to know. And it's perhaps fitting that we gather here in the concert hall to celebrate that exquisite junction between truth and beauty that is so expressed in the careers and contribution of Dame Joan and Richard Bonning. Those of you who've studied in the sciences, those of you who studied in justice administration, pursue truth in diverse ways. I will recall the work of another barrister, a fellow called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. The Mahatma, as he became affectionately known, saw the pursuit of truth not in Platonic terms, not in trying to figure out the world through the dark shadows on the back of the cave, but as an active, a transitive process, what he called satyagraha, clinging to truth. It was an active thing that was right at the heart of his philosophy of non-violence and closely resembled what we might call love. So let me take that inspiration as a way of leaping to the world of truth and beauty that Dame Joan has brought us. Let's take ourselves to the great opera Carmen. When posed the question of what is love there, Carmen says, "L'amour est un oiseau rebelle." Love is a rebellious bird. And I guess the idea of a university is that it does require a little rebellion. It does require a little questioning. It does require something which cannot be easily captured and contained within the four corners of yesterday's scheme of thinking. That has always been so, but it is particularly so at a time when our world is facing such utter change. And it's great to see in the studies that have been manifest, for example, in the doctoral research that's been described to us tonight, ways and means of pushing back the boundaries of knowledge while retaining a sense of contact with those great cycles that give our life meaning. I noticed with great interest that the research leading to the doctorate for Dr. Jane Megan here tonight celebrated the work of that fantastic Townsville artist Annika Silva, and in particular picked up on the goddess spirituality which inspires so much of what is rich about our tradition. And speaking of goddess spirituality, let me turn to Dame Joan Sutherland, OM, AC, DBE, La Stupenda. From Sun Aria winner to international diva, Dame Joan has elevated her career and her audiences through her unique vocal qualities, seamless legato, strong coloratura and outstanding dynamic range. She's played many of the world's great female operatic roles, from Violetta in La Traviata to the Countess in The Marriage of Figaro, and as we've heard, the great Lucia de Lammermoor. Dame Joan stands as a beacon and icon of the power of woman and the power of a woman's voice. With her partner in life, accompanist, advisor and conductor Richard Bonning, the pair have raised the roof at the Met, La Scala and at Her Maj, that's Her Majesty's in Brisbane. I think one of the things that helps us to rejoice in being Queenslanders and being Australians is to know that international excellence is not merely something that springs out of Covent Garden or springs out of La Scala or comes from New York, that international excellence starts at home and through great sources of inspiration like Dame Joan, we can, each and every one of us, try to make that connection between the soil and that spark that comes from heaven to illuminate our lives. We're fortunate to actually retain some of the costumes worn by Dame Joan during her 1965 sellout tour to Brisbane. They've been preserved in the Queensland Performing Arts Museum here at the Queensland Performing Arts Centre. Richard Bonning is an acknowledged lover not only of opera, in particular the bel canto and French repertoire, but also of antiques and Staffordshire china. Originally trained as a pianist, he moved into opera conducting and has conducted in a wide range of productions. He's had a significant influence on Australian opera as a conductor, artistic and musical director, advocate, source of inspiration, supporter and trainer. One of the great things about both Richard and Dame Joan has been their strong commitment to young and emerging singers and artists through their involvement in masterclasses and specialist training programs. It was said by the Irish poet W.B. Yeats that nor is there singing school but devoted to monuments of its own magnificence. But Dame Joan and Richard have helped the singing schools, none greater than the Queensland Conservatorium of Music, to rejoice not in the past but to explore the future and to stretch the limits just that little bit more. It's examples like that that enable each of us in our studies at university and in our contact with the external world to perceive that which is grand and beautiful, to perceive that those great themes that appear in the visual art of people like Annika Silva, who discerned the earth goddess and the sky goddess in the environment of subtropical and tropical Queensland, that these great movements inspire those of us who merely go about our day-to-day life. Griffith University has a very strong tradition of being able to make that link between the heaven and the earth. It is a great honour to be present at this ceremony tonight, to see Dame Joan and Richard Bonning be honoured in this way and for them to honour us. It's also a great honour for me to be present at the graduation of so many people, young people, mature-aged people, people who've grown up and known Brisbane as their home, people who've grown up and known Hong Kong as their home, or Singapore, or other parts of the world. The idea of a university is to be universal, and the universal starts with our links with this land, the land that was traditionally occupied by the Jagera people. It is in making those links with our past that we have the best chance of communicating with a daunting future. Griffith University, I hope, has helped equip you for that daunting challenge.
Deputy Chancellor, it's my pleasure on behalf of all of us here tonight to thank our visiting speaker, the Honourable Mr Matt Foley, for his address to us this evening. He has, of course, elaborated very eloquently, I must say, on the citation which it was my privilege to read, and has added much more to our understanding of the great work of those we have honoured tonight. He has reminded all of us that in pushing forward to new truth and new understanding and hopefully new beauty, we must remain linked to the wisdom of the past. He's reminded us, and I think perhaps more than reminded, he's put it to us, which I think is a very interesting proposition, that international excellence, which we tend to think of as out there somehow, floating, always starts somewhere for someone at home, as we have heard tonight and seen in the video clips. He's mentioned the importance demonstrated in the career of the great Australians with us tonight from the music world. He's emphasised to us the importance of helping and mentoring young artists, and of course in university work it is the duty and responsibility and privilege of all our staff to work together with our students to help them forward in life. I haven't heard such poetry applied to Griffith in the past as the Minister has put to us tonight, but I'll dwell upon it. He has commended Griffith University for linking heaven and earth. A nice thought and a great challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join with me in thanking Mr. Matt Foley for his address to us this evening? And in conclusion, may I congratulate our graduates and wish them every success in their brilliant careers, and hope that they will join the Alumni Association and stay in close touch with Griffith University. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now concluded. When the fanfares begin, please rise and remain standing as the dais party and the staff procession and graduates retire.